Hi guys, the show is amazing. First off, I
Oh,
love it
thank
so much.
you.
I'm 3 episodes in, and it's so good. Your first question, the dynamic between Toranaga and Blackthorn, it's pivotal. How did you guys work together to sort of develop the chemistry necessary for those roles?
I think it was automatically, from the beginning, I felt something, you know, and during the shooting, knowing each other more and more and deeper, just overlapping like a Toranaga and
Yeah.
Blackstone for me.
And in the beginning, a lot of it, I guess, the despite the language barrier that was prevalent in the beginning, it was a good thing to use to the advantage of the scenes because it made sense for it to be applicable to the scenes because that's what they demanded. So a lot of we there was a lot of just communicating without using language, which was very useful.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Yoshika and Jack Blackthorne are based off, they're real people. So, in addition to the Shogun novel, did you do any research on them to help you better understand your characters?
For me, luckily, I had a uh, chance to learn this period when I've done the role of model of Toranaga called Ieyasu Tokugawa once, and then I've done model of Ishido, the Ishida Mitsunari, twice in Japan. So many samurai movies I've done in Japan. So this period is so popular for me. So yeah,
So, you
um,
know him back and forth then, huh?
yeah.
Yeah. Unlike Hero, I knew very little about anything. I
Of course.
didn't know much about the history period or the man that John Blackthorne is based on, Captain William Adams. I didn't know much about that. I didn't know much about the I didn't know much about anything, so I had to do some reading.
Now, Hirosan, the first film I remember ever seeing you in was The Last Samurai, bringing up this whole time period, and it's a movie that I just absolutely love. Did performing in this historical time period in Shogun bring up any memories of working on The Last Samurai at all?
Not much, but making samurai story in Hollywood is the same situation. So since the last samurai, I've done many Japanese story in Hollywood. So I've I've learned a lot uh, how to make better, and then what I need to do if we create the Shogun.
Mm.
So that's why, luckily, this time I got a title of producer. So I could hire Japanese crew, the specialist for the samurai drama. I picked up the members for each department, wig, costume, props, or master of gesture. So we had a team to make this drama authentic as much as possible. So that's a big difference from 20 years ago.
Yeah, the production value for this series is insane. It's so good. Yeah, as actors, does it make it easier for you to get into character when there's so much attention to detail as far as historical accuracy goes?
Yes. Yeah, yes. Yeah, I mean, there were some days where you'd walk around set, and as far as the eye can see, there is our fictional setting, but in reality, and that definitely it helps because there were places where Blackthorn could go and think, and he would be in the actual place that he was supposed to be fictionally, which was amazing. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, no, it really is incredible. I mean, my mind has been blown watching this. I've been like, holy crap. I mean, it's the costumes, the sets, everything is it's so good. Hiro-san, real quick, I work for Comicbook.com, so I have to ask one nerdy question if you'll please oblige me. Will we be seeing you suit up again as Scorpion in Mortal Kombat 2? And if so, do you get to punch Carl Urban in the face?
uh, I have no idea what to say, but yeah, I've just finished the shooting. Uh, yeah, in Australia.
Okay, that's awesome. That's all. That's good. I'm just very excited for it. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. Guys, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. I really appreciate it. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I love the series. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Anna. It's good to see you again.
Hi again. How
How
are
are you?
you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you so much. It's this. Oh my God, Shogun is incredible. It's got to be so exciting for you to come, like, yeah, back to back from Monarch to this. It's just like you're killing it. So congratulations, first off.
Thank you. Have you seen everything?
I have not seen everything. I've seen the first three episodes.
Okay,
So
okay,
yeah, so I have four junkets to do today. So I was trying to squeeze in as much as I could this weekend, but it's
right.
so good.
It is.
Speaking of, I wanted to bring up the fact that, we spoke for Monarch and now you're in Shogun and with a wildly different character, right? Between Mariko and Kate Randa, who do you find the most challenging to play, and do you have a preference between one or the other?
Uh, I think my journey on Shogun was just very, very heavy. And so that was, I think, the tougher character to play. Also on like Monarch, I was having so much fun, you know. We were always joking around, and on Shogun, there wasn't much joking around. I don't think, it was that kind of
Right.
vibe. Both are great, but honestly, Mariko's story is just so powerful that I would probably have a hard time finding a character that tops her.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean, from what I've seen so far, I mean, you're just killing it. And likewise, I wanted to bring up I mean, you got to work with Kurt Russell for Monarch, which I thought I was so jealous of. He's like my hero. And now in Shogun, you get to perform opposite, Hiroyuki Sanada. What were some key similarities or differences between working with an American film legend like Kurt Russell and then a Japanese film legend like Hiroyuki?
Similarities?
Similarities or differences?
Honestly, they're amazing people, like human beings. There's no ego. They just want to make the project better. And so they show up and they're having conversations and they're really in it. And yeah, like looking at them both, I'm like, okay, that's what makes them who they are right now. You can't, be thinking about the other little stuff. You're just thinking about the project, and they have so much passion for it.
That's awesome. I mean, it's so cool to be able to like spend time with those people and see how they work. And like you said, to be able to be like, okay, this is what got them to where they are. So I'm sure that's a great learning experience. One thing I wanted to bring up with you is like the production value for this series is insane. As an actress, does it make it easier for you to get into character when there's so much attention to detail as far as historical accuracy goes?
Yes, I think the details always helps. For this role, I really had to learn everything from walking to like how to eat or how to, like cover my mouth if I wanted to. Like you're not just supposed to do that. You're supposed to like hide your fingers and do that. I think there was like you don't want to really show your skin too much. And so those things really create the character. It's all about the details. So being able to learn everything really shaped me and got me ready to play her.
I have to ask you about the walking. What did you learn about walking that was different?
Oh my gosh. They don't wear underwear. So
Oh, well, there's
yeah.
that.
So you have to like bend your knees a little so that your knees touch. And if you're when you take steps, you're like only moving the under the knees, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how I walk when I wear a kilt. Yeah.
Do you really?
No.
That's how you walk. And then it's also like your feet are kind of turned in. You're never taking huge steps. The only time that Mariko was allowed to take like a big stance was when she was fighting and when
Mm.
she was like actually fighting, not like performance, like when she was like trying to save her life. So otherwise, you would see the underwear. I mean, you would see this stuff that you weren't supposed to see.
Right, 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 right. I understand. I'm not gonna ask any
No,
more
no,
about
no, we're not talking about it.
So, Mariko is based off, and I hope I don't butcher this name. I'm so stressed out about it. Mariko is based off Hosokawa Gracia. Am I close?
Yes. Well, I say Hosokawa Garasha because that's how we say it in Japanese, but I think it's
Okay.
great. Gracia, is it? Gracia?
Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm going to go with what you said. But, I was curious about, in addition to the Shogun novel, did you do any research on her to help you better understand Mariko or sort of fill her out at all?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I read books and I learned a lot about her, but also I knew that Mariko was, a fictional character that's inspired by her. So I never really went back to make sure that like I was playing Hosokawa Garashi right. It was more about like what was written in the script because we were trying to give her a little bit of a new twist.
Right.
But yes, I read books on Garasha and there were small things that I just really loved, like her relationship with her dad or how, she saw her mom, how she saw the horses. Like I fell in love with the horses. And when I read a little section that said that she loved looking at their eyes because she felt so much like life from them, I really related.
That's awesome. I cannot wait to watch the rest of the show. I'm out of time. Anna, it was so great to talk to you again. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Chris.
Hi, guys. The show
Hi.
is freaking amazing. Like, congratulations, first and foremost. I love it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, of course. So Shogun is highly inspired by true historical events and real people. So which character do you feel like is the most faithful to their real life counterpart? And which character do you feel like deviates the most from the person they were inspired by?
Well, it's an interesting question. Yeah, I mean, because the book, that we're inspired by and basing everything off of is in itself a work of historical fiction, which is right, like a conflation of real people. I mean, I would say that if you look at Toranaga as the main character, I think he very closely hews towards Tokugawa Ieyasu, his real life counterpart, the man who enacted hundreds of years of peace in Japan after what he was able to accomplish. Certainly, I know with Hiro Sanada, who played the part, he's such a just deeply influential figure in Japanese culture, and it was important to convey him with the according respect. I think that Blackthorn is very much William Adams, who was contemporary to Tokugawa Ieyasu and was kind of given audience with him on a number of occasions. And that follows closely to pattern as well. I would say probably the biggest, not shift, but just conflation would be this character of Mariko, who's introduced in the book, is probably the most invention on James Clavell's part. There was the inspiration of Hosokawa Gracia, whose story to get into would probably get into some big spoilers. So we'll sort of protect it. But also this idea of the family line of Akechi Jinsai, which is something kind of different. So Clavell found a way to merge those two and to create this love interest who, was not really in existence for William Adams, though he did ultimately marry a Japanese woman in his later years. So that would, probably be the biggest difference.
Gotcha. Now, can you talk a little bit about Hiro Sanada and what he brought to Shogun, not just in terms of acting, but producing as well?
Oh, we love this question.
Yeah.
I'll just say, as somebody who was more observing the production, he was just always there. First person there, last to leave. It could be summed up in that way, but Justin was his partner in this. So
yeah, I mean, having him come into it, there's a number of times on shows, and I've done this before, where it's like you give your star a producer credit, and it's like a vanity title. It's honorific in some way, and the conversation with Hiro-san early on was really this thing of, we need a producer here who has worked within and without Japanese cinema for some time. And he was so unique in the sense that he was a child actor, right? Coming up in Japan, who then 20, 25 years ago transitioned to Hollywood cinema. And so the point of view that he brought, which was so important and so crucial to making this show, was, I've been doing it here in Hollywood, in the United States, for 25 years. I have seen every mistake that Hollywood has made in conveying my culture. And so it's like, great. So now let's do it. And you can just give us the laundry list and we can walk through it and we can try to avoid it every single day as we make this show, which meant that what he began to do is say, I know the person you need to hire. I know this person. I know that person. Eriko Miyagawa, our key Japanese producer we brought in, as well as the Shosa movement advisors, props advisors, art department advisors, language advisors, translators, historians, all this sort of wealth of resources. Hiro was the one who was able to provide them and and lure them over from Japan to come work for us for 11 months of shooting. That was without his contribution, in addition to what Rachel's saying, which is just being there, making sure everyone's in costume right, that the hair pieces are looking right, that everyone, overseeing our Japanese crew who are really guests here and making sure everyone felt comfortable and felt like they had the ability to speak up when something was wrong. That was such a crucial part. I mean, there would just be no Shogun without that.
And you would think that he would be doing this to kind of like this is the pinnacle of his career. It's the role of a lifetime. No, he would always talk about, I'm actually doing this for the young cast, many of whom had signed on to do this show to work with him. He's always doing it for the younger generation so that their 25-year journey might be a little collapsed.
That's awesome. Justin, also, it's insane that you've been doing this for 25 minutes or 25 years. You're so baby-faced.
25 minutes is me.
No, me, I've been doing it for 20 years. Yeah.
Last question. I got one quick question to ask you. Have there been any recent successful television series that specifically made you feel like, okay, audiences are ready for a series as dense and complex as Shōgun?
Gosh, I don't know. It's hard to think about that in terms of what exists because you really try, I think, and I look at this in my feature side as well with the kinds of movies that I write. I'm really hoping to just participate in stories that we've never seen before, as much as possible. I think by doing that very often in success, you're able to get something that draws that attention because people, all of us as audiences, we're looking for new experiences. We're looking to say, whether you walk into a theater or commit 10 hours to a television show, you're really telling the people who made the show, look, I'm going to give you 10 hours of my time. Take me somewhere I've never been. Don't take me to the same stuff that I've seen before again and again. Take me to something new, surprise me, make me think I know what I'm about to get, and then show me something else, and then every now and then deliver the thing I really want, like that too is important. And I think that, and it's all the blueprint of the novel too, but like what Clavell's structure for this show and what we tried to bring to it was that feeling of like, you can't miss this. You really, you don't want to hear other people talking about this show. You have to experience it firsthand. And the only way to do that is to do it in a way that just sort of stands independent of the other silhouettes in the landscape.
Well, mission accomplished. You guys did an amazing job. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Hi, Michaela. So good to see you again so soon.
Hey, Chris. How are you?
Good,
I love your
good.
background. All the posters. They look fabulous.
Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate it. It's almost too distracting. Like I have enough people bring it up at the beginning of interviews that I'm like, oh, I need to take all this down. It's going to take up all my time. First off, the show is incredible. I'm not going to talk spoilers because I'm only 3 episodes in, but it's so good. I love it. As the daughter of the author of the novel Shōgun, I can only imagine the significance this series holds for you. How did your father feel about the original Shōgun series adapted by Paramount in 1980? And by comparison, how do you feel like he would have felt about this adaptation today?
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, he was executive producer on the first one, so he was very proud of the first one, which was done in the late 70s, and that's the difference, really, time. We're 2024. We have a lot more technology on our side. We have a much more sophisticated viewer on our side. So you don't have to start from scratch because, to put it in perspective, many people didn't know what sushi was in the late 70s. So it opened up a world that particular version, the first version. So fast forward to our situation. How do you make it relevant? How do you make it new? And FX, from the very beginning, wanted to tell this from the Japanese point of view, the Japanese perspective. And if you are in the books very much along those same lines as well, very much into the mind of the Japanese at that time and the culture. And that's the whole point, is it entering a different world. So I think we were able to make this very, very relevant and in a way that he would have loved very, very much, because it is very true to the whole breadth of the book, not just the the romance and the perspective of the stranger in a strange land kind of a thing, which, as Justin and Rachel have said, it's been done. We wanted to do something different. Well, all you had to do was go to the book, read the book, and it's all there. A whole different perspective than was shown and able to be shown at that time, different period. So I think he'd be stunned and at the beauty and the complexity of this Shogun,
Yeah,
which is true to the book.
I mean, it's fantastic. The attention to detail in this series is just incredible. I mean, it's next level almost. And on that point, has there been any recent successful television series that specifically made you feel like, okay, audiences are ready for a series as dense and complex as the way you guys wanted to present Shogun?
Well, I think in general, Game of Thrones, for instance, which is fiction, but was very complex and very much technically advanced compared to what had come before it. I think in the end, though, it's worth remembering a good story is your most important starting point, no matter what that story is. And it's a feat to make anything as complex as this. It takes hundreds of people's most excellent work to create this music. And we were just so lucky that FX put the time and the care into hiring Justin and Rachel and Hiro, who was an expert in his own right in Japanese culture of this period. The goal was to make this authentic, and as authentic as the book was. My father, he read for a year and a half, 2 years almost about the period before he ever wrote a word. And you want that same kind of excellence, and you rarely get it. And I think this is almost a throwback to the excellence of the limited miniseries as it used to be. Historical fiction is an expensive project to make, and you have to be much more detail-oriented in this period than you used to be. It's a sophisticated audience. They don't want to be fed pablum and pretend historical costumes. They want the real deal. And FX and Justin and everyone was very respectful of that and went to great lengths to try to make this as authentic as possible. And that's everything my dad stood for, authentic as possible, while still telling a really good yarn, a great romance, a great swashbuckling story of adventure, but also respectfulness to the culture you're portraying that's not your own.
Yeah, the hard work and authenticity is all over the screen. I mean, it's so impressive. I'm not trying to just blow smoke. I mean, I really.
Oh, it's okay. Even if you were.
It's so good. Speaking of, I'm already out of time. It's so good to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you very much.